The top five, all separated by 5 points or less. Slice filing a horse hockey alert on the horse hockey alert that he filed a horse hockey alert on. Meat French looks to capitalize on Slice being distracted, and Red 19 writes with a vengeance. Who will be crowned champion? The truth will soon be known on the Clash of the Pencils live stream.
Turn on the stream tonight, short stories in the spotlight. Writers bring their best to light. The story central time. Breaking down the plots, characters that fought, twist that hit the spot. It's all you live tonight. Are you ready for some stories in a live stream glory? It's the contest of the year. Writers have no fear. Catch the suspense unfold. Feel the tales being told. Critiques fair and bold. The truth will soon be known. Jawless from far and wide. Mysteries you can't hide. Every twist takes the story right. By these rules we abide. Are you ready for some stories in a live stream glory? It's the contest of the year. Writers have no fear.
All right, welcome to the Clash of the Pencils live stream, the only full contact creative writing esports league in the history of the earth, potentially the universe. I am Tom Sherman, joined as always by Greg, the reader Peterson, and we are here to analyze the plot, character, and setting of the top short stories of the day. So each day, authors throughout the internet submit a handwritten one-page short story based off a prompt revealed at the end of our live stream, and then the public at large votes for their favorite story. We reveal the winner at the end of each show. And if you want to join in the fun, it's easy. First thing you do is download the app. Links for the iPhone and Android app are in the description on the YouTube channel here. So that also has the daily schedule in it. And what you'll do, you download the app and then you submit a story based off the prompt. After you submit a story, you'll pick your favorite from the top three that get revealed. After you pick your favorite, you'll watch the live stream and see who wins. Once you watch the live stream, we'll reveal a prompt at the end, and then you submit a story based on that prompt. After you submit a story, you will pick your favorite, and then you watch the live stream. After you watch the live stream, you'll submit another story. Once you submit that story, you pick your favorite, and then you watch the live stream, and then you submit a story, and you pick your favorite, and you submit a story, and you pick your favorite, and you watch the live stream. It goes on and on and on and on and on, like the song that never ends.
One of those times you might be the winner.
It's possible. It's possible. If you do it enough, statistics say it's gonna happen. So that's that. Let's take a look at the scoreboard real quick. Slice and Mr. Whiskers locked at 20 apiece in first place, followed closely by Meat French, Carl's Rights, and Nacho Story. So anybody's ball game here today, Greg.
Anybody's ball game. Look at that. 20, 20, 15, 15, 15, 15. We got 2 days of the week left and 3 stories to get to.
And you know what? That's a good thing to point out too, is Mr. Whiskers, Nacho's Story, and Carl's Rights all not submitting, so they're not going to get any points. But Meat French here is looking to capitalize, move up in the ranks. Hopefully, if Meat French can beat Slice by more than 5, they'll take that first place slot all for themselves.
Yeah, and then going into tomorrow's end of the week.
Whew. So looking a little dicey here for Slice, not performing as usual, and that's because Slice has been distracted filing horse hockey alerts all week long, and yesterday filed a double horse hockey alert off of a first horse hockey alert that was originally submitted over the weekend, and it was denied. It was denied. It was Slice was worried about the redistribution of points off of his denied horse hockey alert, and the commissioner viewed it and said, nope, Meat French deserved those 5 points. And so that's that. There were no deductions for this third horse hockey appeal, but Hopefully Slice, this is one of the things is Slice isn't paying attention to the writing, and I think that's affecting him, or her.
What is a sports league without a commissioner with capricious, all omnipotent power?
You know, that's what they're made for, is for the commissioners to feel like they could play too if they just penalized people enough. I don't know. Anyways, let's just move on to the prompt for the day. A shy kid discovers they have a superpower, the ability to create earthquakes with their burps. When villains try to steal their powers, they must use their mighty burps to save the day. So, when we take that prompt and we're thinking about the keys of victory for our authors today, where does that prompt fall in between the plot, setting, and characters of our paradigm here?
Well, I just wanted to note the exclamation point on the prompts. They're mighty burps. I think that's character development 101. Look at that. I don't know if we've ever had an exclamation point, but if ever one was called for, it seems to
That's
be
it.
this prompt: earthquakes with burps. So that's character. I mean, if with an earthquake, we've got some setting, and then we've got villains are trying to steal it, a little bit of plot. So I think this is already kind of pre-baked character plot and setting. All you have to do is execute here.
That's right. So those three elements, the character, setting, and plot, are triangulate to create a story. So the closer an author strikes to the center of those elements, the more likely they're going to create that engaging, visceral, and exciting story that the readers and Storybot 3000 want. So, uh, having done all that, I think it's about time to just start queuing up these stories and letting them rip. What do we think, Greg?
Let's do it.
All right. So our first story of the night here is going to come from Red 19. And this one was called GIA Unit.
Ethan, we have another possible infiltration, his boss shouted on the voicemail. Please read the report I just emailed you and get back to me with your thoughts as soon as possible. This looks serious. Ethan sighed, put down the book he was reading, and stopped studying for his upcoming history test. He opened his computer to read the emergency report he had just received from his boss at the GIA. When not in his 9th grade classes, or in the library studying, Ethan worked as a secret agent for the Grammar Intelligence Agency. His main responsibility was to read messages, product reviews, English papers, news articles, and even story prompts to try and determine whether they had been written by unintelligent humans or intelligent computers, and to determine the source of the grammatically compromised language. Was there a nefarious motivation, or just run-of-the-mill stupidity? Holy cow, this one looks like the work of a goat forgery syndicate, the quiet, spectacled Ethan mumbled under his breath. I may have to resort to using my secret weapon on this one. According to the GIA handbook, pronoun antecedent disagreement is a serious grammatical crime and punishable to the fullest extent of grammar law. In this instance, it points to the work of ChatGPT or other AI writers. While Ethan reported back to his boss, he downed a litre bottle of soda, a bowl of black bean soup, and a bag of Fung Yens preparing to unleash his fury. After reading Ethan's ominous warning, his boss responded, "Let's teach these guys a lesson. Let her rip, Ethan." With that instruction, Ethan breathed in a huge gulp of air, his swollen belly gurgling, churning, and proceeded to let out a massive belch that shook the earth and swallowed up all the bad grammar in its path. Whew! Ethan wiped sweat off one more his forehead. That was close, but thanks to Ethan, the world was spared another grammatical disaster.
All right, so here we have Ethan, an agent with the Grammar Intelligence Agency, gets an urgent call from his boss, urging him to check his email. When he checks his email, it's finds out there is a grammar crime that is being perpetuated by a vast foreign syndicate, which Ethan discovers there's a pronoun antecedent disagreement at play. I know. That is bad. Ethan drinks a soda, eats some black bean soup and Funyuns, and then prepares for the word from his boss that, yes, let that belch go. He burps, swallows up all of the bad grammar in the world, and then saves the day.
Wow, there was some epic world building going on in this one. At first, I was like, all right, so there's a 9th grader with a history test, but then there was the email from the boss, and those were two different things. And then we got the explanation. Oh, this is this is a very special and precocious ninth grader.
Mhm.
Knowing ninth graders, Tom, I've never known any of them to have a passion or any precision around grammar. So this is Ethan is a truly gifted. I liked the play of the grammar international goat forgery, anything with ChatGPT, and like the entirety of judging whether something is ChatGPT derived or handwritten authentically derived is in this one ninth grader.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it seems like he has two superpowers. The burping is kind of the secondary thing. It's really
Right.
he's got this uncanny ability to see if artificial intelligence or humans were making all these grammar mistakes. I liked the soda, the black bean soup, and the Funyuns as the kind of magic potion that is what is needed to unleash this. And
Mhm.
then when he burps, it's an earthquake, but it seems like it's somehow in a language that is able to edit or scrub all the grammatical
Right.
errors exclusively. It doesn't really work in the physical realm. It's more
Yeah.
of a linguistic earthquake.
Yeah, that's kind of where the world building lost me a little bit because we're in a very real reality. You know what I mean? However much of real reality contains a grammar intelligence agency, but it seems like a world I'm familiar with. And then all of a sudden, this burp swallows bad grammar, and that extraction I just wasn't able to comprehend. It was a little too abstract for me, but that's what writing's all about, right? So it works. I liked that. Well, actually, this is what I didn't like. I kind of felt like this might have been a swipe at our own prompt because
Oh wow.
our prompt might have had a pronoun antecedent disagreement
Oh,
where
wow.
a shy kid discovers they have a superpower. So
Wow.
there it is.
Wow.
Yeah, and I would like to point out that it's actually it's allowed. It's
Nice.
allowed these
This
days.
is where you file a horse hockey alert.
Should have had a horse hockey alert filed. Instead, the passive aggressive story is just as good. It it works well. So I don't know if that was actually why there was a pronoun antecedent.
Very
Yes.
clever, Red
So
19.
there it is. So Red 19 keeping everybody on their toes. It's a good start. Let's see if Meat French has what it takes to continue such epic world building.
Little Percival Plum, a nervous, rotund boy with a penchant for solitude and books, discovered his powers in the most inconvenient of ways. One afternoon, after a hearty lunch, he let out a burp so grand that the ground beneath him rumbled, cracking the pavement. Flustered, Percival realized he could cause mini-earthquakes with each belch. His quiet life soon crumbled when nefarious villains from an underground faction sought to steal his power for world domination. Awkward and lumbering, Percival found himself reluctantly pulled into a chaotic quest to save the city. Amidst the absurdity, he enhanced his gift, sending mighty seismic burps that shook buildings and scattered villains like leaves in the wind. In his final stand, after an anxious feast of baked beans, Percival unleashed an epic burpquake, saving the day with comedic grandeur, yet remaining blissfully unimpressed by his newfound heroism.
All right. So in this story, little Percival Plum discovers his ability to create earthquakes, which then villains start to, from an underground faction of unknown origin, try to steal his power for world domination. He awkwardly tries to uh, begin a he awkwardly begins to fight this quest that was thrust upon him until he decides to save the day, yet unaware of his true power.
Oh man. I don't really know. My first thought was like, why was he remaining blissfully unimpressed by this newfound heroism? Come on, Percival. Like, you gotta know when you've got it and you know you're good, like you gotta celebrate it a little bit, I think.
Mhm.
There was some interesting wordplay. I liked the sentence. He let out a burp so grand that the ground beneath him rumbled. The grand and ground. I thought there was a lyricism there. He shook the buildings and scattered the villains like leaves in the wind. That was a nice simile that allowed me to picture it. What was really lacking here for me, Tom, in this story
Mhm.
was there was really no, these were all, the villains were almost cardboard cutouts as
Mm.
stock figures. I didn't get the sense that they really rose the stakes or were just set pieces for to comply with the prompt. I didn't get the stakes being raised or there. I did like though that there were baked beans. It's interesting that this is the second time that beans have
Mhm.
been used to kind of bring about the really mighty burps.
That's I too found interesting, especially if you recall the rhyme. It's beans, beans, the musical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot. So not
Mhm.
necessarily burp. So it's interesting that our authors here are using beans to bring about burping when you would think that might cause a different mighty wind to occur. So um, yeah, I do enjoy the threads through it though, and yeah, I thought it was great how Percival was, um, you know what I mean? Not an anti-hero, but a reluctant hero. You know,
Reluctant.
it's just thrust upon him, and he doesn't really want. I thought that was part that kind of really plays into the character of who Percival is. He's just a guy, penchant for solitude in books, and yet all of a sudden he has to participate in this action adventure. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? Could you think of
Come
anything
on.
like?
I think some thoughts or some quotes would have really helped bring that into the
Mm,
forefront a little bit
mm.
more of how reluctant he is. If we could have gotten an eye perspective or if we could have gotten some dialogue with the villains.
That's a great point. That's a so yeah, a fantastic story here from Meat French. A lot to chew on in a little space, and you love to see it. So our final story of the night is going to come in here from Slice. This story is called "Nerds of a Feather."
Edgar sat by the pond holding his golden sunglasses in his hands. He'd periodically try them on again. He'd mumble prayers that this power was just a dream until he'd see a duck, turtle, or minnow and see their thoughts. After some hours, he was accepting this as reality when his best friend Ruby yelled to him. He quickly pocketed the golden sunglasses and waited for her arrival. Ruby and Edgar, along with a couple other friends, were known by students, staff, and teachers as the super nerds. They were hassled primarily by a group of 7 students who'd suffer them into lockers, throw gum on their seats, pants them, trip them, tie their shoelaces together, and call them bad students. The pond was a place where the super nerds could escape reality. Edgar, although perturbed himself by this morning's revelation that he could see thoughts with his sunglasses, sensed Ruby was unsettled herself and pressed her to tell him what was bothering her. She refused and requested they sit in silence at the pond. With trepidation, Edgar reached into his pocket and put on his golden glasses and looked right at Ruby. He saw Ruby think, "He's your best friend. You got to tell him, but he'd never understand you can make the earth quake with a burp. You might hurt people if you had to prove your power." Edgar yelled to Robbie that he believed her and explained his newfound power. He explained as best he could while digging into his school bag for a can of Sprite. Handing it to Ruby, he said, "Now I got to see this." Ruby explained that not any soda would do. She recently found a cache of a hitherto unknown soda in the refrigerator in her basement. "It's Tepeolotl Cola," Ruby said. "It tastes a little better than Mountain Dew and is super fizzy. There's a feathered jaguar on the can. While I was out back last night, I burped, which shook the ground around me and knocked over a tree." Dell, one of the super nerds bullies, smiled on the track hundreds of feet away. He'd just discovered super hearing and couldn't wait to tell his dad, a Coca-Cola executive, about Tepeolotl Cola. His dad would family love him.
Okay, so Edgar holding sunglasses that can read people's minds. This is a continuation from Slice's story yesterday, actually. Is now sitting by the pond, comprehending his new powers, when a friend, Ruby, comes by looking pensive. As they sit in silence, Edgar decides to use his new sunglasses to read her mind and discovers she is trying to comprehend a new superpower she's discovered, the ability to make earthquakes with burps. Edgar says, I just read your mind. It's all right. And tries to give her a soda to make her burp. But she says only Tepe Yodel cola can make her make her burp earthquakes. And a nearby bully hears and decides he's going to tell his dad, a Coca-Cola executive, and his dad will finally love him.
There were so many pockets. You could spin this off into many stories, Tom.
5 stories in one. Yeah.
The biggest thought was when Ruby confesses to, or when Edgar reveals that he can read Ruby's thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Ruby, I think Ruby'd react like, what's up with those sunglasses? Right? Like, both revelations are so wild and out of this world, and both of them just kind of get shrugged off. And the story could go in any way. I also would love, the other place that I think could be a spin-off here was Tepiolato Cola. Was Dell. No wonder he's bullying the super nerds, Tom. His dad doesn't love him. He's got all that business.
It's tough. It's tough being the son of a Coca-Cola executive.
Yeah, especially when you're looking for a new soda that's like fizzier than Mountain Dew and has this power.
Right. I mean, think about that. Think about all the all the money, power, and love that could come with that.
This one was interesting. Like most of Slices, I struggled to put it on to the character plot and setting kind of rubric that we've been laying out. It's somewhat plotless in that it's a change of setting from indoors to outdoors, and now suddenly yesterday's pond scene makes more sense.
Right.
The characters, in revealing the superpowers, kind of overtake the characters. We get a little bit of, like, at first Edgar is empathetic, and then Ruby is like, you've got to tell him, and they do reveal this, but the revelations are so otherworldly, hard to get your head around, that it's hard to get any sense of who these characters are after that. And then the plot, I mean, what happens here? It's a continuation from last. They basically go have a kind of quiet moment by the pond, reveal something, and then that's going to, now Coca-Cola is going to bring this into production. Is that the villains? Are those the villains?
Right. It seems like the tension of I guess the biggest plot point on the page would be the tension of Edgar, should I or should I not wear these glasses and read my friend's thoughts without her knowledge, right? So I think that's the main beyond that the point of tension that has been set up at the very last line, which is now one of these bullies. I thought Slice, as far as the paradigm goes, I think that's where the characters were developed, was these two people are part of this group called the Super Nerds that everybody knows about. And then the author also emphasized who this pack of bullies is, that there are 7 of these bullies that have been bullying these nerds. So there's a bit of a reveal as far as the world building and the characters of this ever expansive sort of cast and crew, because now the bully has discovered super hearing, so all of a sudden a lot of people in this small world have discovered big superpowers. And
Dell doesn't filter this at all. He's like, oh, soda that causes burps, I'm taking that straight to dad, no critical thinking, accepting it on hearsay.
And I think that was an interesting thing with this story too, is the sunglasses, the soda, and then we're not sure how Dell has the super hearing, but it seems like these are all devices that give people the powers. Whereas in the first 2 stories, the power to create burps was innate within the character themselves. Whereas it seems like if whoever gets their hands on Tepe Yodel soda will be able to create earthquake burps, and whoever wears the golden sunglasses will be able to get thoughts. So it's almost like a Batman scenario, where it's the tech and the gadgets that are enabling these magical powers versus a sort of Superman or, you know,
No, that's
Spider-Man.
great. That's great. Yeah, I totally see that.
Yeah. So, anyways, how's that for hard-hitting analysis? Did we nail it or what? I don't know. Yeah.
That's why folks. That's why a single dozen of folks on the internet come here.
That's why we get literally tens of views daily. All right, so let's see. All we got to do now is do the top 5 sentences of the day, update the leaderboard, reveal the next prompt, and then we're out of here. So we will do that. We just have to stop for a few seconds to get these words from one of our sponsors.
Come to J-Rock Subaru. Now take a week, sauna great heat laps. Feel like a lizard again. Sweat it out, let it pour. Burn the dance floor. Free lifetime membership. They're up to 100 classes. Come and dance, come and sweat. The skill you won't regret. Feel the beat in your bones. Stretch it out, lose control. Groovy moves, energy high. Dance with us, touch the sky. Free lifetime membership. There are up to 100 classes. Come and dance, come and sweat. The skill you won't regret.
All right, that's J-Rock Zumba Room, a free lifetime membership after 100 classes. So get on in there, experience those sauna grade heat lamps. They'll have you feeling like a lizard again.
Yes, they will.
Oh man, I've heard that if you use those sauna grade heat lamps too much, it actually might burn you a little bit.
Might burn your. You might need some aloe vera. Applied hourly.
So just be careful. Just be careful at J-Rock Zumba. That's all we say. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. This is what's here, and this is the leaderboard. I was just updating it. Check this out. Slice taking home the championship today, or the crown. So Slice with 20 points. Meat French came in second with 15. And then, as we discussed earlier, Carl's Wrights and Nacho's Story were not. So Red 19 comes in third with the 10, not cracking the top 5. So doing a little math, Slice 40 points, Meat French with 30, and then Mr. Whiskers with 20. And Carl Wrights and Nacho Story with 15. So really, anyone's ball game still. I mean, 15 and 20. That's well, I don't know. Slice would have to file a bogus horse hockey alert, maybe. So Slice might be edging out Nacho Story, Carl Wrights, but Meat French, Mr. Whiskers still in the ball game here coming into Friday.
Yep, it's interesting as we come down the home stretch. What is going to be the prompt that determines this? That's what I'm dying to know.
That is what we are dying to know. But before we reveal the prompt, we're going to have to do the top 5 sentences of the night. And so here we go. In number 5 from Meat French, in his final stand after an anxious feast of baked beans, Percival unleashed an epic burpquake, saving the day with comedic grandeur, yet remaining blissfully unimpressed by his newfound heroism. Number 4 from Red 19. According to the GIA handbook, pronoun antecedent disagreement is a serious grammatical crime and punishable to the fullest extent of grammar law. Number 3 from Slice. He'd just discovered super hearing and couldn't wait to tell his dad, a Coca-Cola executive, about Tepeyotal Cola. His dad would finally love him. Number 3 from Marvin the Microbe. The helicopter landed and 4 men in black suits and an aviator sunglasses hopped out, ran up to Carlos and said, "The Canadians just kidnapped the president. They're demanding you as ransom." Carlos chugged his soda and nodded to the agents. And the number 1 sentence of the night from this one's actually from Marvin the Microbe. Marvin the Microbe belched into the same cavity his entire existence, as his genetic copy did before him and his genetic copies did before them. But today, the pressure was too much to bear, and a grain of sand slightly shifted. By Quetzalcoatl's flagella, Marvin thought, what superpowers are these?
Wow. We'll never know. We'll never know.
Never know.
Sentences into the ether.
Never know what Marvin Microbe would have done with that ability to shift sand ever so slightly. All right. So now we've teased it enough. Let's just get to the fun. This is what people actually like tune in for, right? And And
Oh
we
yeah,
make
they're
them
watching
spend
the
30
whole
minutes.
30 minutes. The whole 30 minutes in a second.
This is the prompt for tomorrow. An owl, a penguin, and a young sparrow attend a flight school for birds. Wow.
Incredible.
All right. So, characters, an owl, penguin, sparrow, setting, flight school for
That's
birds. The plot is there.
It's up to
Definitely
you.
take
This
it.
is a growth coming of age story. Here we go.
Oh man, exciting to see how our authors will use those at the end of the week. Final story of the week. This is going to be a good one. You're not going to want to miss tomorrow's Clash of the Pencils live. So until then, keep your pencils sharp.
And don't let your creativity get captured.
Turn on the stream tonight. Short stories in the spotlight. Writers bring their best to light. The story central time. Breaking down the plot. Characters that fought. Twists that hit the spot. It's all you live tonight. Are you ready for some stories? In a live stream glory. It's the contest of the year. Writers have no fear. Catch the suspense unfold. Feel the tales being told. Critiques fair and bold. The truth will soon be known. Dollars from far and wide. Mysteries you can't hide. Every twist takes the story right. By these rules we abide. Are you ready for some stories?